July 30th marks the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons.
The United Nations General Assembly made the proclamation for today back in 2013 to raise awareness about human trafficking. And it comes as a new short film is bringing attention to that crime and what goes into it.
And here to talk more about this, we have anti-human trafficking advocate and author, former Navy SEAL. I mean, the list goes on and on. Remi Adeleke, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
I mean, still fighting the good fight.
Trying.
Yes, trying. Let's talk about what today means. When we talk about World Against Trafficking in Persons, what are we talking about here?
In my opinion, we're really talking about bringing awareness to this fight because it is a big issue. It's a global issue and it requires a global response. There are so many people who are unconscious of the realities of human trafficking, especially the form of trafficking that I focus on, organ harvesting. So it's really about bringing awareness and letting the world know what's going on in the dark corners.
And this is happening here in the United States, right?
Yes.
Where?
San Diego is a major trafficking hub. Houston is a major trafficking hub, as well as Florida. But we also have places all across America. Alabama, there was a recent story that came out about a trafficking ring where young underage girls as young as like 8, 9 years old were entrapped and trafficked.
Wow.
Sometimes you hear about these stories and sometimes it feels like it's too big of an evil. Like it's someone at home, myself included, like how can I possibly help with something this large, this dark and evil?
There's different ways. One, finding a human trafficking nonprofit to partner with via donations. Another way is to go on a human trafficking website and just learn the signs and symptoms of a trafficked victim so you know what to look for. That's what a flight attendant did in Atlanta a few years ago. She went on a anti-trafficking website, learned the signs and symptoms of a trafficked victim, and a few months later she was on a plane and identified one and was able to rescue a kid. So it's the little things, right?
Wow.
And you know, some of the reasons why these poor people are being trafficked.
Yep.
It's just unbelievable. We're talking about children in a lot of cases.
Yes.
Why would anyone do this, and what are they doing with these poor people?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of traffickers, most traffickers, I'd say 99% prey on the vulnerable, and it boils down to greed. It boils down to money. I remember going on an anti-trafficking trip down to South America, and we were in a particular slum where the parents were selling their daughters to traffickers, and the traffickers would then move the daughters to the northern part of the country where Westerners, Americans, would come and pay for sex with these young girls, 8, 9, 10 years old. And so why were the parents doing that? Because they were desperate for money. It didn't justify their actions, but the common denominator when it comes to the reasoning is greed, money, and vulnerability.
Oh my goodness. And then you focus, like you mentioned earlier, on organ harvesting.
Yes.
And I have to tell you, when I read that earlier, I was like, wait, excuse me?
Yeah.
So explain what that is.
Yeah, so organ trafficking is about $1.9 to $2 billion industry globally. Again, they prey on these trafficking rings prey on the most vulnerable. And bidding for a kidney starts around $90,000. It can go as high as $120,000. A good heart, clean heart, can start at $150,000 bidding and go as high as $950,000. So these are all people, again, it all comes back down to money. As a matter of fact, there was an organ trafficking ring that was just busted in Kenya a couple of weeks ago. And there were people that were preyed upon and their kidneys were being sold for $200,000. But the ring was broken up and busted. But wealthy Westerners were traveling to Kenya to pay for a new kidney. So why is it happening? It's happening because of money, but a lot of people are totally unconscious. They hear organ trafficking, they think a horror story, but it's real. It's actually reality. It happens all across the country, all across the world.
Let's talk about your film.
Yes.
It's called The Unexpected?
The Unexpected, yes.
Obviously, it's important for so many reasons. Can you kind of give us a synopsis of what people will get from this?
Yeah, so essentially it's telling the story based on a true story about an international organ trafficking ring and how a particular victim was moved from one part of the world to the West in order to have one of her organs, most of her organs taken out and trafficked on the black market, and how a Western family unknowingly paid for her organs, specifically her heart. So I tried to, Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite filmmakers, and so there was no way to end the film on a happy ending, given the topic, so I told the story in reverse. So the beginning of the movie is actually the end of the movie. It's a 32-minute short film, and the end of the movie is actually the beginning. So you see the victim alive at the end. But it's based on a true story around a genocide that took place around 2014 against the Yazidis, and a lot of the victims were moved all throughout the world. for different
Oh my
reasons.
goodness.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, Remi, I do also want to ask, because you're also part of, you guys have these shirts.
Yeah, yes.
And some of the funds go towards, tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So I have a apparel company, KejoWear.com, and so what we do, we decided to come up with an anti-trafficking shirt. This is our anti-trafficking shirt, and a large portion of every shirt sold this next month is going to be going to Lantern Rescue. Every month we pick a different human trafficking nonprofit. So I'm on the board of Traverse Project, which is another major anti-trafficking organization that utilizes former special operations guys like me to track and find and break up these trafficking rings. But this month, the proceeds from these shirt sales are going to go to Lantern Rescue, which is also doing great work, not just in the United States, prosecuting traffickers, putting them behind bars, and people who are paying for sex with underage women, and kids, but they're also doing it all around the world. Child sacrifice, they're breaking up rings as it relates to child soldiers, child sacrifice. So yes, if you purchase a shirt, your money will be going to support Lantern Rescue.
Okay, so there's a lot of information, obviously, that we just talked about. The film, maybe a link to the shirts if you'd like to donate, or any more resources. We do have links on our website, fox5sandiego.com. Click the Scene on tab, and we'll make sure that we have all that info for you. Remi, we know you're a busy man. We do thank you for coming in and sharing all of that. And I think that's the most important part, is bringing awareness to the table.
Absolutely, and thank you for allowing me to come on to spread awareness via your platform, so I appreciate it.